where you're actually listening to the other person. I mean, simple things like that can actually help you get things accomplished in your family. You can get things accomplished definitely in your career, in your business. So it's always something that you really need to fine tune. It's always something that you really need to have that connection with other people in a way that's meaningful. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, well, you know
Yeah.
what? And I tend to be a get straight to the point, get down to business type of guy, and
Uh,
you know I'm like that. That's who I am. But I want to make sure I say hello and good morning to everybody that's in there. I see Patricia and Andre and Yvette and Claudine and LaShawn and Alicia. A lot of you in here, and shout out what city you're from. Let us know what city you're coming from, because we are super excited. I want to just say this, and then I'll let Alicia. I want to pass that mic back to you for sure, babe. You know, you guys that are here, Claudia, who's from New York via London. You know, you know how much I love London. We had such a good time in London. You know, you are the talented 10th, in my view. To me, the talented 10th went from, I'm a black nationalist for the most part. Black nationalist to me means that I believe in family. I believe in institutions. I believe in educating our own, creating our own jobs. I believe in building black wealth. That's what I believe. And so in my view, very admittedly biased perspective, you guys are the talented 10th. You're the ones who are doing the work to build for the next generation. You are the ones who are breaking cycles that have been in your family for 50 years. You are the ones who are taking the time to become educated. Y'all the black people that got up at 8, 9 in the morning to become better people, man. I mean, you can't lose with that strategy. You cannot lose. So I want to make sure that that in a world where you constantly are hearing you can't win like Michael Jackson. I know Alicia loves Michael Jackson and that's and because Michael Jackson's from her hometown. In a world where everybody's telling you can't win, you are winning. I say you can't lose with that strategy. So babe, what are your thoughts on that?
yeah, I mean, it really takes you to have the ability to look at areas where you think you can win. I think that you have to try to decide what is it you want to do in your life. I mean, people who get up at 8 o'clock in the morning to say, you know what, Black love is important. I'm tired of all this hate on the internet. And we'll talk about that probably later on today and definitely tomorrow. There's a lot of Black hate. And I think now it's time to balance that out and start talking about Black love instead and have a blueprint and a layout. I think that this weekend is going to set the tone for the rest of us for the rest of the year, and how you can incorporate. You'll be getting information and you will be getting strategies on how you can incorporate some of these things into your life, because it starts with your own home. And you're right, it doesn't take everybody. It's like the talented 10th. It doesn't take 100% of us to really make an impact and make a difference. You set the tone. You can be someone that people can look up to and want to emulate. So it doesn't take all of us. The people who are here, there's 200 and some odd people right now, and probably others tuning in. We are the one that's going to lead this Black love. So I love it. Yeah.
Yeah. I think I like how you were saying, babe, that Black hate is kind of popular. That's sort
Mm-hmm.
of being mad at ourselves and disliking each other and criticizing each other. Sometimes that becomes the dominant language. Now, I believe in accountability. I think that there is a room for solid critiques, but it seems to me that sometimes we get to the point where we engage in this overkill of saying, this is why I don't deal with Black men. This is why I don't deal with Black women. This is why I don't deal with Black businesses. It's all connected. It all comes back to self-hate. And the opposite of self-hate, obviously, is self-love. And if you, because at the end of the day, if you hate yourself, then you can't really love other people. You can't. I don't see how you can connect productively with another person if I hate you because you're like me or you're like my mother. Right? You see that a lot. You see a lot of men who are mad at their mama, and it comes out in their relationships. Or you have women who hate their father, and it comes out in the way they interact with men. And so I would encourage you to hear from the experts this weekend, because the experts will allow you to get scientifically proven techniques to manage your relationships in your life. Everything from picking the right person to be with. A lot of us go wrong in relationships just because we picked the wrong person to begin with. It's like you're playing the perfect game of basketball with somebody who does not know how to be a basketball player. That ain't gonna work, right? It ain't gonna work if your teammate is not a good teammate, right? And then also we talk about not just romantic relationships, but also other relationships, your friendships. Who do you let in your life? Who do you decide to go into business with? Business is a lot like a marriage, and this stuff is important because I'll tell you this, babe. I'm gonna call you Dr. Alicia. I know that sounds awkward and corny, but I want to respect your credentials. But yesterday I had a sister on, Kim Lewis. That was her name. She's the CEO and founder of Curl Mix. And Kim Lewis is interesting because Kim Lewis, Lamar Tyler forwarded me her information. Kim and her husband, who live in Chicago, basically they had a hair care business and they were making about 36 grand a year. And she was going to give up and go back to corporate. And then she got up to a little over 100,000, but that's not enough when you got all the expenses and everything else, right? There wasn't like she was making 140K in profit. It's like probably losing money or close to it, even though the revenue was 140. And she went and her and her husband made an intentional effort to do what people in this room are doing right now, which was to go and learn the skill set they needed in order to get better in their business. And guess what? They went from the next year. I'm not making this up. Go watch the video, y'all. It's amazing. They went from 36K. That year they had really bad year. They made 36K in revenue. The next year they made $1 million. $1 million. And then check this out. When she finally came on my podcast a couple years later, she made $6 million that year. And also she and her husband, Kim and Tim, that's their names. Their names even rhyme. It's the cutest thing ever, right? And then she went and raised $2 million. Both of them together went and raised $2 million in 2 days on WeFunder. $2 million and that's $1 million a day. And Elon Musk, people like at that level make $1 million a day. That's a lot of money. And then here's the other kicker that's crazy. I don't even think her and her husband are 30 yet. And why do I tell this story about Kim Lewis? This early 30s woman and her amazing husband and their 2 kids and how they're now making $6 million a year. Is I asked Kim, I said, how difficult would it have been for you to have done all this if you'd had a bad relationship with your husband? Or if instead of your husband, he was your baby daddy and you had drama like a lot of other people have. And she said it would have been impossible. She said we never would have gotten anything off the ground. And I want you to take a moment. You guys are smart, so I want you to use your imagination and reflect with me for a moment. Think about how many $1 million, $1 billion possibilities have been killed because of baby mama, baby daddy drama. Think about how many situations. I mean, we just watched a great rapper, DMX, and what happened with him. And everybody knew it. It's an open secret in terms of his decline over time. And I read DMX's bio going all the way back to the day he was born. And it started with a bad relationship. His father did not want him to be born. His father wanted his mother to abort him. So his father abandoned him before birth. So there was no stable family, lots of abuse, lots of trauma. 40 years later, 50 years later, you get this. So I want you to kind of connect the dots on this. Love is everything. The way you love yourselves and love each other is so important. So Dr. Alicia, I'm going to zip it up now, and I'd like for you to get your response on everything I just laid out.
Yeah, I think that, even if you are in a relationship and it's less than ideal, even if you have like bad baby mama drama and all of those things, it's not the end of the world. Like, you can actually learn from those relationships. It's, don't sit and think, oh God, I ruined my life because I wasted 5 years with this person and I should have moved on. I'm of the belief that you are with somebody to learn a certain lesson. And once that lesson is learned, not all relationships need to carry on through the end of time. Sometimes there's a time limit on it, and the time's up. Thank you so much. I've learned my lesson. I'm going to be better at it. So, don't beat yourself up if you have baby mama drama or if you have issues with your exes. I just think that is a great learning opportunity so that you can become better in the next relationship. I also think that, that couple, like, how inspiring is that, Boyce? Like, I think like this couple, who was starting a business and it was a little rocky, that could have been a perfect opportunity for the partners to turn to each other and start blaming each other and start criticizing each other and start like really taking out their frustrations on each other. But it sounds like this particular couple is stronger now than they were because they had this challenge. It seems like now that they learned how to solve this problem peacefully. Because if they were fighting and arguing and throwing things at each other and breaking up, that business would have dissolved. They would have lost potential money. Like, I think like for the biggest takeaway for me really is just that if there's a problem between me and you, it shouldn't be between me and you. It should be me and you, Boyce. We're working together to solve the problem. The problem is the enemy, not you. And so to me, that's a big takeaway. Good grief, $1 million. Like that would be, that's just awesome. Yeah.
Yeah. It's I'll tell you what, I learned a long time ago about the importance of really being thoughtful about who you let into your life, because I saw a lot of people with a lot of potential lose that potential because of a bad relationship. I've seen people get killed in their relationships. And I'm talking about people who, were high flying professionals just killing the game. And that's the myth, that the lie that they give you in society is they make you think that if you got everything going on over here, that you ain't got to worry about what's happening over there. And they actually say when they measure quality of life, they say quality of life comes down to 3 key things: health, wealth, and relationships. So if you're thinking about wealth, I talk about wealth all the time, but what I learned was that a holistic approach to all of that is very important. You can't think about your wealth without thinking about your health, because if you're eating crazy food and stressing yourself out and not taking care of your body, well, it doesn't matter how much money you have, you're going to die, right? Or you're going to lose all your wealth trying to get your health back. And then also, none of that works if you don't take care of your relationships. You let crazy people in your life, gangsters and gold diggers and deceptive people and nasty people and harmful, toxic people. Well, that's going to undermine everything. That's going to undermine everything you work for. So health, wealth, and relationships are all connected. Your relationships will affect your health. I'm sure Dr. Alicia can tell you numerous. She really, when I tell y'all that she sits around reading articles all day long about every aspect of love. She really does. Like, she literally was like, Boyce, I read 30 articles on Black relationships. Like, she said this yesterday when we were running, again, trying to take care of our health. And we were talking about this conference, and literally she read 30 articles on Black love and relationships just to get ready for this event. So Babe, what are your thoughts, just on what I laid out just now? And actually, before I ask you that question, do me a favor, everybody in the chat, type hashtag Black love. That's going to be our hashtag for the weekend. Black love reigns supreme. Black love is the key to the universe, because we all know that humanity came from a Black woman. So everybody type hashtag Black love in the chat so that we can all be on the same frequency. So Babe, what are your thoughts on what I just said?
Yeah, I mean, it's all related, how your finances, how well you are, health in terms of your mental health and your physical health, all of that is related. And it definitely has a relationship with your how you interact with other people. And I think particularly for men, because men feel like they need to be a provider, and they don't feel like they're worthy of a relationship if they can't provide. And so sometimes they can isolate themselves and not even approach a woman, or not even feel like they're worthy of being married if they don't have their finances together. So, and if you're in a relationship and things are going well and you hit a rough spot, and your finances isn't looking the way it's supposed to look, it's very important to come together and talk about those feelings related to that, and to say, you know what, honey, even though we're hitting a rough spot, you still the man, and we're in this together, and so things aren't always going to be great all the time. Sometimes you have a health crisis. This is a time where, instead of tearing people apart, it should be a time where you can work together and say, you know what, baby, I'm taking care of you. You're having surgery today, and so I'm going to be there for you to take care of you. And so it shouldn't be seen as like you're weak because you may be having a health issue. It shouldn't be that you're weak. It should be that your partner can help build you up and help support you in those areas. Like, if something happens, even I told you, Boyce, I said, Boyce, if something happens to you, I got your back. We're not going to starve. I'm going to be there for you financially. So, and I'm going to be there for you to take care of you If anything happens to you physically, I mean, you just have to have that one person who you can count on. And I'm not going to have contempt for you. I'm not going to say that you're less than a man. I'm going to love you and honor you. And that's what's important. And that's what I think a lot of men really wonder. They're like, wow, if I'm not able to do these things, am I really worthy of this woman?
And that's an interesting thing that makes me think about another thing I saw. It's interesting that I was really surprised. I made that conscious decision to propose to you in public, and that was a little bit weird. And I got the kids' permission to do that, and I remember I wasn't really sure how people were going to respond to it, and the reason I did it was because I felt it was just extremely important for I really feel that because Black love is kind of not given the respect that it deserves, that you just I felt like, I don't know, I felt like the Black woman kind of needed to see a Black man, and I guess in some ways, maybe in some circle somewhere, I might be considered a man worth marrying, or whatever the case may be. I felt like Black women needed to kind of see how much we love y'all, just how much respect we have for you, how gorgeous we think you are, and things like that. And one of the things that I found that was really interesting when this happened, and by the way, here I pulled up a little picture. This was the day we went on a run, and I in the background, I went to I met Alicia right like probably 15 feet from this location back when we were in college. Now, at that time, I had kind of friend zoned myself. She didn't friend zone me; I friend zoned myself. But we were friends for many years. As I said, I watched her, have relationships and get married and everything else, and we just lived our lives, and we circled back together years later, and I still thought she was the most beautiful woman in the world. And so we went on a run, and I took her and I was so nervous, and I had the ring in my pocket that morning. I didn't tell her, and it was really hard to not tell her, because it's like one of the biggest moments of your life and ever, and you can't tell the person that you're sleeping with. They're wondering, she's wondering why I'm acting so weird and everything, and so and then I didn't plan it perfectly, actually, because I forgot. I was like, well, who's gonna like actually hold the camera? So we found some brother just somewhere nearby, and I said, hey man, can you hold the camera real quick? And he held the camera. And remember, he didn't really, once he saw me get on one knee, he got real nervous. He started shaking and sweating, like, oh, I bet I messed this up. Yeah, and so but he did a good job. And then two freshman girls came in, and they stopped, they paused, like, oh my God, right? And so anyway, here's the funny thing, right? So after that all went down, which I didn't know if it came off good, or if I just ended up looking stupid, like I don't know, some weird clout chaser or something. I don't know. But I saw just a mixed reaction, right? Most of the overwhelming reaction, particularly from women, was very, very favorable, very, very positive. A lot of brothers, real men, were just like, congratulations, brother, this is amazing. But then I saw like a little pockets. I saw a couple of men that were like, like, why are you simping? Well, like that, like you're simping. And I still get that to this day. This morning, the guy comes in and said, Dr. Boyce, I like you, but you always simping. And I just told him, I said, look, I said, when you become a real man, you'll learn, like, which women are worth simping over and which women are not. And hopefully you'll find a woman that you will simp over too. But I really thought it was really fascinating to hear men, certain men, not all men, a small percentage of men, really feel that expressing vulnerability and true love to a Black woman is somehow weak or sad or pathetic. And I kind of see it definitely in the opposite direction, in the sense that, and maybe I'd love to get your thoughts on this, babe, but a lot of times when you play that hardcore role, like I'm the gangster, I'm the tough guy, really what you're doing is you're protecting like a soft, gushy middle, where you don't want anybody in there because you can't handle it. Maybe you went through something with your mama, or you went through something with an ex-girlfriend, maybe your baby's mama done took away the kids or whatever, and you've been hurt by that. So you play this role almost like and hip hop unfortunately facilitates that, the gangster pimp role, like I'm gonna pimp these women and all this other stuff. And I think that leads down the path to nowhere. What are your thoughts on just all that in the whole experience? I'm not even gonna ask you a question. I'm sure you got a lot of thoughts. Go ahead, Vic.
Yeah, I mean, you talked about quite a bit, and I think the misogynistic sort of stance is really dangerous to women. I have talked to women who are married or in a relationship with men who think that way, and they are miserable. They are miserable. The whole household is miserable, and those relationships don't tend to last very long. So I feel really sorry for people who, on some level, feel like if they call you simping, I think they themselves feel inadequate, and they themselves don't feel like they can, that they have what it takes to find that kind of love themselves. I also think that, I'll tell you a story. One time, the glorification of hip hop, when I was a senior in college at Indiana, my friend and I, we flew to Las Vegas, and I was like, oh wow, Tupac was alive back then. And it was and so I went to a what was called a Tupac party, and you know how I am, boys, like, come on, what was I doing? But I got sucked into that, that misogynistic sort of view. I said, well, let's just go to this party. And I went to that party in Las Vegas. It was during the Tyson fight. And I went in there, and it was just hip hop culture. It was just a lot of people, a lot of women were there in scantily dressed clothes. And it just, there was an element in there that was so completely misogynistic that I felt frightened. And I paid $20, and my last $20 I paid to get into this club. And I got in there and I walked around, and what I saw made me frightened. Like, I felt like somebody's gonna rape me in here if I stay in this room. Like, it felt really scary. And that was the very first time that I really started realizing how damaging hip hop and some of those, not all, but some of those images and some of that sort of lifestyle, that misogynistic sort of attitude toward women, where I saw it actually played out. Like, there were women in there, and they were there for a certain reason. Like, it was well known in the music and everything, and the alcohol and the drinking. I just realized, okay, I need to take my little sheltered butt somewhere else. And I begged the bouncer in the front. I said, can you please give me my money back? Because me and my friend, we just spent our last $20 in this, and we need our money back, And so I really, like, once I got in contact with that sort of element, then I started realizing how damaging that is in real life. So it's like glorified, and it's something that we're supposed to look up to. But once you're in it, you start realizing that this is pretty dangerous. I felt I was in danger, and I got out of that club. So yeah, I mean, that contempt toward Black women is something that you see a lot. And and it's the Black woman that actually holds the family together. Anybody in the household who has an issue or has a problem, it's usually the Black mom, the mama, that's taking on everybody's issues and taking on everybody's problems. And we internalize a lot of that. And so it's something, you're right, it's something where we really need to respect and honor the Black woman and the Black man. I mean, both are very important for families. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think that's such a great point. And I will also say this, just my thoughts, my OG advice to any brothers listening is, when you talk about what some of the culture, I mean, I love hip hop, I know rappers, and I have my favorites, and and it's a guilty pleasure sometimes, and but I can tell you that the toxic side of that culture, when you start really analyzing and breaking down exactly what was stated in the lyrics, use as many drugs as possible, drink as much as possible, give all your money away as much as possible, have sex with as many women as possible, go kill as many Black people as possible. It's like a blueprint for self-destruction. It's not just destructive and harmful to the women, but the men feel a lot of that as well. I mean, it comes to a negative end. A lot of these guys die young because they've been living in a certain space, a certain lifestyle. And I think it's very important as a community. Again, I'm talking to intelligent Black people here. I can't really talk to the masses because the masses ain't ready for it yet. But when you talk about administering the real vaccine, I think that we need to vaccinate ourselves from some of that toxicity, that genocidal white supremacist culture that is designed to ensure that you don't reproduce, designed to ensure that your children don't have a chance, designed to ensure that your families fall apart, designed to ensure that you always remain at the bottom of the barrel. So we're not doing that. We're not here to feel sorry for ourselves. We are here to solve problems. And so, babe, if it's okay with you, I can go ahead and introduce the panelists that are coming in. Is that all right with you?
Oh yeah, go ahead. I'm excited. I'm going to be listening and taking notes.
Yeah, I'm excited too. And I want everybody to know we are streaming on the YouTube channel right now, but the stream will end. The stream will end very, very soon. So if you want to come into the event, just go to theblackloveweekend.com, theblackloveweekend.com, and you can, excuse me, you can register, come on in. It's totally free, and you can hang out with us. But we are going to end the stream in the next couple minutes. So I just want everybody listening online to know that, and that's what that's what's gonna happen. All right. So Hassani and Danielle Pettiford, they are the co-founders of Couples Academy, and which the Couples Academy. First of all, the Pettifords, I've heard about them. I have a lot of respect for them. They are super smart Black people, and I'm just a believer that, hey, if you want to learn how to have a good relationship, why not learn from people who have good relationships? You know, there's a lot of little gurus running around who got, who's got a whole trail of mess behind them, but basically making money by giving you advice that came out of their butt as opposed to coming out of a book. So that's just real. Let's just keep it 100. They're making things up and it sounds good and we go along with it, but you need to hear from experts. And so the Pettifords are two people that are in this game. They have the track record. They got the cred. I'm sure that if they're like Alicia and I on any level, I'm sure they're not perfect. So we're not here to put anybody on a perfection platform. In fact, it's the imperfections that allow you to learn the most. And so I'm going to read a little bit more. They run the Couples Academy is a private practice committed to placing couples on the path to fulfillment. Hassani is an infidelity recovery specialist. That's an that's an IRS. He's from the IRS, Infidelity Recovery Specialist, who specializes in affair recovery and divorce prevention. Danielle is a marriage and life coach who specializes in is that Enneagram? Is that right, Taryn? Enneagram. Okay, so Mrs. Pettiford, I'm going to ask you. That's going to be the first question. Can you please tell us what that word is? Personality pairing and hypnotherapy. Wow, that's deep. Okay, so without further ado, I'm going to welcome the Pettifords in. Everybody give them a digital welcome. And I'm just going to stay long enough to learn what that ENNEAGRAM word is. And then they're going to actually conduct the next panel. So the Pettifords, Mr. and Mrs. Pettiford, how are you today?
Doing phenomenal. First of all, let me just say it is an honor to be a part of this first annual Black Love Weekend. I've been following you, as you know, for years. I have a tremendous amount of respect for you. You are a voice that we need in our community. I wish there were 10 more thousand of you to go around, but we're glad that we have you. My wife and I have been married for going on 19 years in October. And as mentioned, Couples Academy is our private practice. I am an infidelity recovery specialist. I'm sure people know what that is, but Danielle, feel free to explain what an Enneagram specialist is.
Yeah, well, Enneagram is something that you're going to probably hear a lot more about, but it is a personality typing system. It's very, very old. It's based on 9 personality types. And we use it in our practice to really just help couples understand not just what they're doing, because a lot of times we're offended by what we do to each other, but more so why we do what we do. And when we understand that, it really just helps us to have some empathy about our spouse, because they were created a certain kind of way. And I need to understand who I'm married to and why they do what they do.
Wow. Well, I love it. I cannot wait. And so I'm going to do my job, which is to shut up and exit the building and allow you all to take over. And we'll be in the background. If you need anything, you just yell and we'll just drop in like an angel from heaven and kind of help you out, whatever it is. So the floor belongs to the Pettifords. Thank you all for joining us. And babe, I guess we exit out and we'll be back a little bit later, right?
Okay.
All right. See you soon. Uh-oh.
Give us one.
All right, there we go.
First of all, I just want to welcome every individual, every couple who is logging in from around the world. This is the perfect weekend that you could be a part of to really gain some critical insight on what it takes to have a successful, healthy relationship. And so this morning, we're going to start off with a phenomenal panel, and that is how to know if a person is the right partner for you. And it's always an honor to be able to have a panelist that you tremendously respect, has a lot of information to share. And we're just going to jump right in. We want to do some brief introductions to let you know who we have on the panel, and then we're going to open it up into a phenomenal conversation. So first we have Dr. George James, who is a licensed marriage and family therapist. I'm going to read his bio here. It says, Dr. George James counsels people on how to overcome everyday relational struggles so that they can build successful connections in love, family, and career. With a practical approach to relationships and life, Dr. James helps bring success within reach of those that he influences. He works extensively with professional athletes, entertainers, adult men and women, executives, couples, and young adult men on various issues, including adulting. Would love to talk more about that. Career, anxiety, work-life balance, love life, leadership, parenting, depression, and communication. Dr. James is the Chief Innovation Officer, the Senior Staff Therapist at AAMFT approved supervisor at Council for Relations. In addition, he is the Assistant Professor for the Couples and Family Therapy Program at Thomas Jefferson University. Good morning, Dr. James. How are you, sir?
Good morning. Good morning to you both. Glad to be here. Honored to be here. Excited. So thank you for that wonderful intro. Thank you for the work that the both of you do. Thank you to Dr. Boyce and Dr. Alicia for just having this weekend. So I'm excited.
Awesome. Next, we have Dr. Adrian Carter, author, keynote speaker, leadership and conflict resolution expert. And I'll read a little bit of his bio. Dr. Adrian is the founder of the Empowerment Conference, a male empowerment initiative focused on conflict resolution, leadership, development, and redefining the identity of men in the 21st century. Dr. Adrian teaches interpersonal and organizational leadership in a way that resolves conflict by bridging the gap between persons and organizations using a multifaceted leadership development tool known as the Ellison model. As a conflict resolution practitioner, Dr. Adrian is a trained mediator, facilitator, and executive conflict coach. Additionally, Dr. Adrian is the author of a powerful book on love, marriage, and relationships titled Let's Get Married and Do Everything Except Make It Last. A heart-to-heart with men on loving and leading, the book challenges social norms and gender roles for a betterment of romantic and interpersonal leadership. Welcome, Dr. Carter.
Thank you for having me. That was some introduction. I appreciate it. It's an honor to be here. I love the opportunity to share with our community and to help and to be of service. So thank you.
Looking forward to engaging with you. And last but not least, we have Trey Kearney. She is an author, a speaker, a certified life and relationship coach. And I'm just going to read her bio really quickly. Trey Kearney is an author, speaker, certified life relationship coach, and a servant leader whose assignment is helping others heal from matters of the heart. She's known for her method of helping others heal through her transparency in truth. Her testimony is going through the storms of infidelity on both sides. That should be interesting. Not only being the offender, but also the recipient of betrayals given, which gives men and women the safe haven that they need to be transparent and honest with themselves without judgment. Trey's formula is truth plus transparency equals healing. And Trey is here for those who are ready to heal. She is ready to walk with you. Good morning, Trey.
Good morning.
Good morning. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I'm so excited to be here. Thank you, Dr. Boyce and Dr. Alicia, for having me. I'm excited to be on the panel with these two powerful brothers. So thank you, you guys. And I'm so happy to meet you guys. I'm so interested in everything that you do.
Thank you.
Awesome.
I think this is going to be great because we have diversity in this panel. And I think we're going to hear unique perspectives on this topic. So we're going to talk for about an hour, and then we're going to allow the panelists to weigh in with questions as we engage them as well. So let's get right into it. There's so much to unpack.
So I think it's interesting, the title here, how to know if a person is the right partner for you. And, you know, listen, we're a couple of a certain age, right? And so I often say to some of my single lady friends, I say, I really don't envy you in this day and age. I would not know what to do if I had to be out in these streets dating. It's unfortunate that there's not a class, a course, or some kind of training somewhere that helps people date today because it's so different. We find that people are meeting online.